All right, so we're going to go ahead and call this workshop to order. And as y'all know, the first workshop we have, I just kind of run through a preliminary, this document right here. Get this one in front of you. It's the budget workshop sheet.
Number one.
All right? And I'm going to run through it, and I'm going to make...
I think this is his.
This is what you're looking for. No, so these pages, let me just tell you what's in front of y'all. These pages right here, y'all can take these home with you and look at them, because this is a page, every department that requested something that didn't just give us a document that same as last year type stuff. Every department that requested something is on here. And I thought y'all may want to look at it and have it with you, because when they come for budget, they're going to ask us for those things. I want y'all to be prepared so you have it in front of you. Wait a second, is this?
I noticed that there are no precincts.
Well, you guys.
This one you ain't got.
Well, this is because you got all of them.
Your secretary gave it to me.
Hey, Jessica, come here for a second, please. Tell me what I got
So
here.
you're gonna get this much stuff as I got.
I feel better now.
What are these? They're all the same.
Tim
These are-
Tim was very upset.
These are notices.
I'm about ready to go home.
I mean, additional.
I've had enough for one day.
It's additional.
Well, you got, hang in there for about 30 minutes and we'll get you home, okay?
I ain't had breakfast yet, so we gotta hurry up.
Oh,
It's better.
You eat breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you talking about?
Well, then brunch.
all right. Now, everybody got this one right here. And this is where we're going to start. And what I did is pretty much the things that changed is our top number, 17.1 million. Last year we budgeted 15.4. And I'm going to tell you, I think I did a conservative 17.1 because I took what Johnette said we grew in new dollars. That's dollars that weren't there last year. And I took that and multiplied it by our tax rate. And then I took the increase from the old dollars and only gave us 3.5% on that, because that's the rollback rate. Multiply that number.
And you only give us how much?
3.5%. So that that 17.1 million should be fairly close, as close as it's going to be. And then, of course, as I always do, I actually knocked that number back, because Johnette's number that she starts with is never the same number she ends with. Okay? Because once they get all the appraisal protests in, that number is going to start falling. So that's where we're at on that. The other number I increased that's significant is the sales tax. As we're going to go over 2.8 million this year in sales tax, and I'm guessing that will continue.
Over $500,000 almost.
Second page, you see there is a number for jail where I mark it. We talked about this last meeting, but we budgeted, this is probably half of what I think we can collect. The sheriff says he can rent out 50 beds starting in January. And what that number is 50 beds January through September at $55 a bed divided by 2. So just in case we miss that January finish of the jail, which I think we will make it, that number actually should double, just so y'all know. But it's a very conservative number at 50% of what we say we can get. So hopefully there's an extra $375,000 sitting there. Going to the next page, and when you go through everybody that's within the annex itself, I put them marked out by telephone services under county administration. That's me. Everybody in this building now, we made a decision when we moved into this building in September, and Ruby, correct me if I'm wrong, we made a decision then that we're not going to be dividing up phones amongst your department and your department. We're just going to have one centralized pay for the phones here, because it's not worth it. It's kind of like we used to divide up reams of paper, and that just doesn't make sense for the auditor and accounting to be dividing up minuscule things like that. So just know that nobody in this building, the clerk, nobody has a phone bill anymore. It all goes under one centralized area, which you will see later. So I will also tell you about significant changes in anybody's request for budgets. And the first one's going to be in HR.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 4. You see in code written out on the side?
Yep.
HR, treasurer, and auditor all have an increase in contracts. And most of it's because Encode is the new accounting system, and they're divided by the 3 departments, okay? So the biggest change in HR is Encode. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same. The next one, Veteran Services. In Veteran Services, I made marks by tires, fuels, lubricants, and capital outlay. Ruben is asking, and it's in your documents, Ruben's asking for a vehicle. So with that comes tires and maintenance and stuff like that. And
You're not gonna get one for $35,000.
well, we're not gonna get a big one. I don't know what you're gonna get, but
Yeah, the ATVs are costing $30,000 now. I know, you probably know.
I do. Okay,
And the vehicle is
for them to drive, to between the, different areas. Ruben says it in there, he's got a number, and I can't remember, but it's,
He talked to me several times, Chris. He said in the last 3 years, he put 116,000 miles on his own personal pickup truck.
yeah,
going to and from work.
And he said he was promised several from different departments.
ain't
And
no
he said
one
somebody stole them from him.
Yep.
Did that actually happen, David Lynch?
I haven't got it yet, so, yes.
Oh, you haven't got it yet?
No,
He's right.
but,
He was promised a free one, and if we can find a free one around from the sheriff or somebody, then I think we can make that work. But I need to get with the sheriff and find out, he's still waiting on 9 of them to come in, right, Keith?
yes,
So those are even in, and he's gonna ask for more.
September now.
Again, is this to and from work?
I think it's not, he says that, where's that piece of paper? Oh, here it is, right here, shoot. Over the last 4 years, they've been reimbursed $12,388 for mileage on their personal vehicles to cover their duties around the county. It's not to go to and from work. And so he's asking to purchase one. He actually said a new Ford F-150 Super Crew truck is $35,000.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
We just bought one, the one that we have for Pat Bronner, the one we did was $31,000
$31,000?
for an F-150
That was a year
Is
ago.
that Super Cat?
crew cab.
That was 2 years ago, or a
Has he
year ago.
received that truck yet?
No, it's, one was still coming, but I mean, it's,
That's why I don't have mine.
but if you do them on fleet, the 35 is a good number.
He gets one, he get one for 35.
Yes.
You'll have in your documents Ruben's request, so, and I'm not going to, I'm just gonna tell you what it is, y'all can think about it, we're not making a decision,
A
but
little bit.
just so y'all know, that's what his request
You
is,
need
and
to-
he will probably come
Yep.
before us. Do you know who's scheduled so far? You don't have to tell me right now, but, then let's go to page 6. Page 6, we are now on non-departmental, other services. Did I increase that by 100,000? I'm not sure. Oh, I did because we went over budget on other services. The contracts, I have a mark on contracts because we are going to get requested. I had a meeting with the SD board. I'm sorry, the 911 board. Ruby was there, Keith was there. The 911 board is going to be given a grant to upgrade and keep, they're upgrading the whole 911 system over there, right?
that's correct.
Because number one, the federal government says they have to because or the state government, because the 911 system that we're upgrading to actually will allow you, if you call 911 and nobody in our place is there to answer, they may answer it in Galveston, as if they're sitting right there. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So the 911 board is applying for a $1.4 million grant, which they feel pretty sure they can get. The question they have to us is, it is a grant that will pay after you've bought the stuff. So they don't have 1.4 million to buy the stuff, but they're going to get a grant to pay us back. And we're not going to make a decision on that today. I'm just warning you all that's coming, and we're going to have it on the agenda probably next Thursday. But what I've asked Ruby to do, because of the complexity of the additional accounting, that $450,000 over in contracts, $150,000 of that is what we currently budget to 911.
That's what they get now.
That's what they get from us right now.
Okay, how about the equipment? I know that just talking to the deputies, talking to the ESD people that picked me up one time, nobody has no communication. And that's not good.
I would need some specifics. I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know
Okay.
what they mean by that. I mean, we have all kinds of
They
communication.
take off for an address, they're still looking through an address book.
Okay, so we're not communications, then you're talking about address.
Yeah,
Address.
it was
I mean,
911.
two whole different things. Communications, radios, how we're talking, can we talk?
Okay.
But if you're talking about addressing, I mean, I guess we need to find out specifically what holes, they're trying to, now you're talking about things where ESD's looking to try to get what the deputies have in their vehicles that have the CAD and the addressing and
Exactly.
stuff in their
Exactly.
vehicles. And they are trying to move towards doing that. Because yes, you get out on these county, a lot of times there's no address out there.
Yeah, they're out there knocking
And
on
so,
doors up and down
I mean,
4th
they're
Avenue,
driving a
looking
half
for
a
an
mile up and down a road trying to figure out, and dispatch is trying to give them landmarks.
Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. But yeah, not communications, but addressing issues.
Okay, is that gonna be addressed with their upgraded money that we're gonna be doing?
Two different things. The upgraded, this part has to do with hardware equipment, hardware and software of all the positions. Of course, right now you have 3 dispatch positions. The new system will have 4, which is how many positions we have in there to be able to have 4 seats in it. And then as Judge said, it also goes to next generation 911. And in next generation, there are things now that on this building, not only on geolocation can they say that if I call from my phone, not only can they tell me it's in the building, they can tell me it's in this room. They can tell me it's upstairs in the corner of the building.
And then my wife called me and
It's-
tell me to pick up her talk while I'm down at Dr. Red.
Right,
She knows exactly where I'm at.
right. So
And-
this
and we
is,
don't, and that's why
Well,
I'm
that's
saying-
your fault.
And that's what I'm saying, we need to have something, technology like that, so we can tell these people where they're at or where they're
right.
going.
So the answer to the rest of your question is that's something the ESD is working on from their side, because we have it now in the deputy's vehicle. The ESD has the ability, and they're looking at that. I mean, we can share the data out. We do it with Hondo PD, for example. Right now, Hondo PD and Sheriff's Office both use the in-car.
Well, I think
And
that'd
so
be
they're
an
looking
important
to
piece to
do
put
that.
into this budget,
Yeah.
get this done.
So that's part of their budget. not our
Correct.
budget.
Now, that piece of it is.
So
That's right.
if y'all recall, we approved a bunch of tough votes. How many? 35 or 40?
Yes, sir.
Y'all approved that probably 6 or 8 months ago. And that's the piece in the sheriff's cars that allow them to see.
So where
Where they're at.
where they know everybody's at, that's
And
exactly.
I would
what-
encourage all y'all to take time to go and maybe have Tony or Keith or somebody take you through the 911 center we have now. I think January 1, it's going to become a sports bar. Okay? I'll provide the beer because it's got how many TVs? 20-something?
39 total screens.
39 screens in it, and you can see where every deputy in the county is at right now. You can see when
We see
somebody
the
calls
troopers.
in. You
We
see
see
the
the
troopers. It's
We're not.
it's very
It's
first-
state of the art.
State of the art. That's it. All right. So anyway, that Ruby's going to move 150,000 out of contracts and put its own department, or whatever you call it, counting center, because if we're gonna be reimbursing, we're gonna get reimbursed, we need to track it better than just have it in a group with others, so just know that's gonna happen. That number down at the bottom, transfer out, is the PDO. It went up tremendously, because that is what the PDO, will be transferring money out of the general fund into the PDO fund.
Okay, and that money, is that transferred, we get paid back on that money from other counties?
Well,
Or how's that gonna work?
how much of that is reimbursable? I think that's our cost, or is it?
I thought Edward said that was our cost.
Can you just make a note, and then in the next meeting, let's let them know what that is? So Edward's out with Montezuma's Revenge or something, and Ruby was out yesterday, so our communications has not been that great. I did talk to Edward twice.
You got monkeypox?
I don't know what he's got. He's got something.
I
But,
gotta hear
He
from
got
you.
tested, whatever it was.
and he came back negative, so
Maybe
that's
we don't
the
wanna
good
know.
news. So the biggest number increase is the transfer out, which is the PDO number in non-departmental. Then we go to the county court at law, and there's no real change in his budget request. He is going to come talk to y'all about his employees. Then we go to the district court. The only big change I marked was jurors. As you can see, this year-to-date activity, we blew the budget already, so I increased it to cover jurors. District clerk, no change. Justice of the Peace, 1. The only big change that I have on the JP is, it is the equipment. Yeah, JP1
They want more
needs
schooling,
new
too.
computer. They want more schooling, and so there's a couple things with the JPs that we need to talk about. They're gonna come in and ask for a raise. And I'm gonna tell you, they also are some of them have asked for more travel. So we're gonna need to be thinking about that. I kept it all the way it is right now, because obviously raises come at the end, and we'll need to talk about how we do raises. Travel-wise, we have them all at 4,200. One of them wants to go to 5,400. I don't know how much travel they do right now.
Okay, let me ask you, when did we give them that last big raise? Was that last year or the year before? We went from like 32,000 to 46,000.
Do you know when the last time we gave them
Was it last year or
pretty
year
big
before?
jump?
Yeah,
Well, we can look at it.
about $15,000.
Fiscal year, it was 49,000 in 2020. It was 52,000. I'm sorry, it looks like it's 54, so we gave him 5,000.
One jump was 15,000.
Well, that would have been before 2020 then. Because they're now at 54 plus 4,200, so they're at roughly 59,000 and 59,600, it looks like. When you include the yeah. JPs. They also get a phone allowance, which also is included, so they're at about 60. When you look at that, and I have with me, where is it? The salary survey. Did y'all get a copy of these?
Nope.
All right.
They don't want us
We're on the system.
You said it, I didn't. All right, Justice of the Peace, if you want to know what, and I usually use Atascosa, Kendall, and Kerr. Atascosa JPs make 49 plus 9. They're at 58.
Yep.
And I just said ours is at 60 because you add 600 for the phones. Then you've got Kerr. Kerrs are at 61. So they're pretty close to us.
$2,000 difference.
And Kendall's over on everything. They just got too much money up there. But they're at 70 plus 2,600. They're at 72.6. So we're in line with Atascosa. for the JPs. But we'll just be prepared. So JP2 and JP2 asked for more continuing education, and JP3 asked for 5,400 in travel. So we left everybody at 4,200. Nope, yes, we did leave everybody at 4,200. JP4 didn't ask for anything. Then we get to the district attorney. The district attorney, and I need to ask him this question, but he asked for a big increase in office supplies, and he really isn't even spending what he's spending right now. Look, he asked for a 5,000 increase. In year to date, he's only at 6,300. So that
don't make no sense.
It doesn't, and that's a question I'll need to ask him. He's asked for 8,000 in continuing education, and that's probably necessary. He's getting ready, and one of the things he's asked for, and something I'm going to highly recommend is he's going to ask for one more lawyer, and that lawyer will become mainly a civil lawyer.
I didn't know such a thing.
A civil.
There's no such thing as civil lawyer.
What do you mean? The other ones are criminal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Civil.
I know what you mean. But a civil lawyer that will basically be assigned to not just this court and helping out with contracts and all those things, but there's a lot of open records requests. There's a lot of civil things that are happening that they're doing, and I think it'd be wise for us to let him hire a person who will be predominantly assigned to this court.
Well, what does that pay?
About 85.
Well, did anybody watch the news, just regular news instead of Fox?
Why would I want to do that?
That's a good question.
What did the regular news say?
San Antonio, they had the district attorney on there last night, and he has lost 27 attorneys, because their max is 66,000.
Yeah. Well,
They can make more
most,
money.
I'm going to tell you what when he says
That was on the news last night.
most of his people, and having gone through law school, a lot of young lawyers, they graduate from law school, they don't know crap about anything, and the district attorney's office is a great place to go to work for
Yes,
your
sir.
first job, to learn how to go to court, learn how to try cases, and you get paid $66,000, you got good benefits, and if you like it, you can move up. If not, you've got that 3 or 4 years under your belt, and you go out and farm your own role and make a lot more money. And that's
He said he lost 27 this year.
it's a churning event, and he's probably got 100 of them in there. So that's not unusual. Maybe it's an unusual year for this year, but I know a ton of people who started their career in the DA's office, and then they leave. But I think to get somebody that's worth a darn, we're gonna have to pay them about 85. So that's coming. District attorney, we're done with him. So he went up just about 20,000. That's without the salaries. Elections went up 21. Most of the elections increase is in seasonal workers, and if you look at it, he handled a lot of elections this year.
Yep.
So it's probably a reasonable request to go up and hope he stays under it, but he went up 20, that's 20,000 increase right there. Everything else stayed pretty much the same on elections. Auditor, again, had an increase in contracts, in a $5,500 decrease in capital outlay. The auditor, by the way, is got a part-time employee that we have approved, and we're getting ready to take that employee to full-time, and that is going to be funded by the PDO grant. So when we got approved to transfer the public defender's office down here, outside of the $3-point-something million that we have for the public defender's office, they also funded us $65,000.
I think it's 70,000.
Anyway, They funded us $65,000 or $70,000 to hire an employee that's gonna basically be assigned to the auditor, but is also gonna help HR, because we're bringing on 30 more people. And so that employee is just gonna be there to help.
For that department.
Yeah, so you can add 70,000 to the revenue side because it's gonna go right back out into that additional person for the auditor. So it'll be pretty much a wash to the budget, but we don't have it in there either way, do we? And we haven't approved that number, so we need to add that to wherever you would add it on the revenue side, and then put it over here on the auditor side.
Their total budget, though, went down.
Their total budget went down. The auditor budget went down
Yeah, but I just.
a little bit. Well, it's because they, look at their capital outlay. They decreased capital outlay by 5,500. If you take equipment and capital outlay together. So the auditor, yes, but they did increase in code. So it's kind of a wash, what happened to them. Treasurer, the same thing. Treasurer just changed because of contracts and in code. Otherwise, no change. The tax assessor, Flynn and I need to visit a little more on this one, but hers doesn't change much. She is, in your handout here, you're gonna have a letter from her, and I don't know if she'll come see us or not, requesting an increase in her employee salaries and her own, because she handles now 17 people, probably got the largest department.
Did she ask for any more employees or not?
No,
Really?
no, she didn't
We're-
ask for
we're
more
gonna build-
employees.
We're gonna build a brand new office over there and no new employees?
Well, I don't think she asked for anything, did she?
No.
Yeah, I got people standing outside the door now. It's ridiculous over there.
Yeah,
She got vacancies too.
yeah, she's got some vacancies. So, so that's coming, read your stuff, but she's asked for an increase in the salary and
Okay.
not real specific, just a general increase in her employees, and we'll probably talk about that when we talk about raises. Now, part of that, and she's not the only department, she hasn't raised everybody to their max yet, has she?
She is not.
Yeah, so she's got the ability to do
Don't
that.
make no sense then.
And it's almost, it's like the corrections officers at the jail had the same thing. I mean, by last week, y'all weren't here, we increased their salaries, but there was about 5 or 6 of them that there was room to move them up, they just hadn't ever moved them up. So,
Yeah, why increase it then?
well,
That don't make no sense.
yeah. So anyway, we gotta work on that, and we'll get you a clearer picture of what Melissa's got going. Hondo buildings and ground went up about 79,000. The biggest hit on that is telephone services, because that all is gonna be placed in, under that budget center. The general supplies went up 50,000. If you remember last year, we were guessing on whatever was gonna happen in this building once we moved in. Well, now we got a pretty good idea, so we've increased general supplies, and we've increased, actually, other services, Ruby. Other services, I marked that because I want you to tell me what's in that 27,000, if it's a one-time thing, or if it's gonna be standard, because we may have to raise that number too, okay? Then we go to Castro Buildings and Grounds, and
There was one line I was under, I think it was telephone too.
we gave, so you currently have 9,000 in capital outlay, and we moved it to 30.
Okay.
Did you need something?
Well, not really. No, that's why we kept it at the year before.
And then we've always had it at, well, we had it at 51, so
Yeah.
we've had it at different numbers,
Yeah.
so it's there, and the same thing, in Devine, we have 30. You guys, it's there for you to use if you need it, but if not,
I'd say just leave it there.
if not, don't use it.
Yeah.
So, and in Hondo Buildings and Ground, I think we have, in Ruby, we're gonna need to make a line item transfer, but we've blown the budget on repair and maintenance and haven't spent hardly anything under capital outlay. And that's just something we can fix at the end, but, all right. Next, the county jail. Okay, there's a whole book in here for y'all to look at from the sheriff.
Man, that hurt.
Remember, we're non-essential.
Y'all all have this, and it is the whole sheriff thing. Don't read it now. I'm just going to tell you in a nutshell what's in it. All right?
Nutshell.
Nutshell. County jail is, they got an increase in uniform allowance, which is probably correct because they're going to have more people. They got an increase in supplies, fuel, medical, and prescriptions, groceries, and transport. All of those are probably in line because we're getting ready to double the size of the capacity. So all of that I think is fine. I think what we need to look at, Ruby, is we did not change placement services. We have it at 250,000, and I think, and we may want to just leave it there, but hopefully by the time the new jail opens, that won't be an issue anymore. We shouldn't have hardly any placement services. I'll do a recap at the end of everybody that's asked for new employees, so I won't go through the jail, the sheriff, and animal control right now, but I'm going to tell you what they're asking for here in just a little bit. Animal control actually went down 27,000, and that's because they asked for a truck last year, and they, have we bought it?
Yes, sir.
We got their truck.
It's here. He's
So-
not in yet. Probably next
Whose
week.
truck, whose truck is not coming in yet?
Pat's.
Okay, so when we get to Pat, we'll have to talk about him, which is next. So animal control actually dropped pretty significant because they're not asking for, they are asking for more fuel and some other things, but their capital outlay dropped tremendously. Emergency management, we're actually going to have to redo that one, Ruby, because I found out from Keith that Pat's truck that we had on last year's budget won't be until next year. Okay? So you can see on emergency management under capital outlay, we had 65,000 in this year's budget.
No, not on emergency management.
He's emergency management.
On
Oh,
Pat's.
wait, I'm sorry, you're emergency management. Forget about it. Let's go work
Yeah,
on emergency
that one,
management.
that truck's on the way in. It's not here yet, but it is coming.
It will come in this
Probably
year.
in the next few weeks.
All right, so emergency management dropped because we had a $65,000 for his, what are we going to do with your other truck? Use it for backup?
Yes, for the sheriff and the
Sheriff
trailers, yes.
Okay.
Because it's already equipped, so.
It's equipped
Not
with
this
everything
time.
under the sun, so emergency management dropped because he's not getting a new truck, he's already got one.
And Judge, we're also going to drop the travel allowance because when it converted over, it added that $500 and he doesn't get a travel allowance, so.
Okay, well, he's got a credit card,
I don't go anywhere.
he's,
Hello.
all right, constables, let me just tell you, the only constable that actually asked for more, and we're gonna have to talk in a little bit more detail, not today. Precinct 2 asked for a raise. Precinct 2 asked for more travel, and more supplies. They've all asked for, as y'all know, they were here, they want more travel. I asked Edward, I don't know if he's got with you yet, but as you know, every month, our constables turn in a piece of paper that says what they did in the previous month.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got those?
We do.
Well, we used to get them, we don't get them.
So they're gonna give you a
Hold on,
summary.
hold on.
That's what I'm wondering.
Before we make a decision on our constables across the board, I think it'd be important for us to know who's doing what.
And I will testify from my constable.
Well, I want to see on paper who's doing the service of citations, who's doing what, because I personally don't think we need to reward them all equally if they're not all working the same.
Mine has, since January, has looked 450-something tickets.
Well, then you're
And I'm
probably,
sure y'all got that information.
should be rewarded, but I'm not gonna make any judgments or decisions until we have
Don't
something
all do it.
for all y'all to look at. Does that
I
sound
don't do sure,
fair?
but smoke cigarettes for judge.
All right, what's that? Huh? He didn't write me a ticket.
No, I said, mine don't do nothing but smoke cigarettes for Bubba.
Hey, all right, there are certain things the newspaper does not need to print, okay?
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, precinct 2, well, I've already covered the constables, we're gonna cover them in more detail.
Okay, when is the constables gonna come back in and talk?
June 30th. I have Shabelsky on
Next
June
Thursday.
30th.
When?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, okay.
We'll have a breakdown by then.
Okay, perfect.
And you
So
know,
Ruby, you don't have that breakdown for us?
County Sheriff. Let me get to him. Sheriff asked a plus 190,000. 8.2 of that is uniforms, 15,000 in supplies, 20,000 in tires, tubes, and whatever, batteries. The big hit is 87,000 in fuel. 5,000 in telephone, 8,500 in repairs, and 4 capital outlay. So capital outlay in the sheriff's budget is going to be based upon how many deputies we give him. But he did increase it by 45,000. So fuel and capital outlay are the two biggies. Okay, but you know, you guys are all know what's going on with fuel. So probably all of that's reasonable. We do not and have not made a decision yet on people, and I'll leave. That'll be your going away thought for me, is people. Then we get to adult probation. Wait a second. Is that? Yep. Adult probation asked for an increase in utilities, and that's it. Probably reasonable, but may not be too necessary. I don't know. It looks like he's under budget on everything else, and as you can see, he hadn't spent anything in capital outlay in his whole life, so we're good. Pretrial services. They asked for an increase in continuing education, and they also have asked for a vehicle. And she's going to ask for another person. But she wants a vehicle to handle their driving. She'll come in and talk to us about it. And do you know when she's coming?
On the 30th as well.
On the 30th is also. So I'm just giving you a forewarning. That's what pretrial is. Commercial vehicle. Ruby, why do they want a 19.5 thousand in building repairs? Or Jared, do you know?
Don't have any idea, sir.
I believe it's for those, I think they have like portables out there, and I think that's been hidden.
Is that out on the interstate? Those?
The way station. I haven't talked to any of the sergeants over there. I don't know what they're looking at.
Well, they asked for 19.5 increase. That's a big increase, is that? And I haven't talked to them either, and so I don't know if there's some justification in that or not, but they just asked for it. So maybe we could find out what they were looking for. Otherwise, they got some minor stuff going. How,
I can call Sergeant Ogden and ask.
would you? All right. If it's fine, it's fine. So Commissioner Beck will call Sergeant Ogden. Highway Patrol just had an increase in telephone expense of any importance. And it looks like they probably need it because they're going to go over budget this year.
Does that include HBO and Cinemax?
Does that include who?
HBO and Cinemax?
You know what? I think they got YouTube TV, so they can get it all. I know they,
Which line of theirs has their data? Because we just also increased their data speed. They couldn't send, they're doing a lot of upload documents. Which
Ruby, do
line?
you know which line it
Do
is?
you know which one has like
Yes.
the comm zoom in it?
That's going to be telephone services.
It's in
Okay.
telephone also? Because that's going to be like probably 100 a month
Okay.
increase. Just
Well, we'll adjust that number if we need to. Right now, we've gone up on it. We'll see where it ends. Just make a note to talk to me because Keith brought up some, about where in our budget we're budgeting for, HTS. Just you and I need to talk about that. Go Medina. Okay, well, environmental health. That's Pat. And we're gonna move that 19,000, it's gonna stay 19,000, and if y'all remember, the other part of the buying the new truck comes out of a separate budget item where, Pat, we have about $30,000 sitting there, and it's money he collects for health permits and stuff like that. I think it's called permits. So it's only 19,000 to buy his truck because we take the rest out of that other piece. Okay? Go Medina. The only change, and I'm going to ask for this, is to increase them, the money we give Go Medina 5,000, because I think we probably need to look at giving Stephanie a raise. She's doing a tremendous job of getting people in, so I want to make sure she doesn't leave us. Keith wants to make sure she doesn't leave us. So, Go Medina, extension services. She's got a write-up in here, her travel, you see her travel allowance is 10.5, and what she's doing is moving $871 a month into her salaries and taking travel allowance down. And that's, so we're gonna see that. Did you read that in her write-up? It's in her write-up, and it doesn't reflect in salaries yet, but that's, I think, what she's trying to do over there.
So she's giving herself a raise because she doesn't need to drive.
Her employees, yeah, instead of having it as a travel allowance, we're just gonna, trying to remember exactly what she said in her write-up, but it's somewhere in this group here. But yeah. What is that?
On this paper, it's saying that she wants to increase the travel allowance to 21,000. So she decrease the reimbursable travel. Because now they have 2 county agents receiving that.
Whether we move the travel allowance.
Oh, we didn't
salary.
increase the travel allowance, then we need to increase it. Okay, that's what it said. $875 a month is what they're receiving for travel allowance. Okay? They drive a lot. There's
Yeah.
2 of them. So it's going to go up to 21,000 maybe. So that's, I knew there was something about travel. And it's in your write-up. So we need to change that to make that match. Again, the cost of diesel, or not diesel, fuel.
Everything.
You're going to get 10 cents deducted. I seen you on TV the other night. He's going to give you 10 cents.
Which TV are you watching?
And he said it's going to be $3.28 a
Is that
month.
on Disney?
I think so.
Is that,
I seen the guy on TV. He's going to give you 10 cents and 18 cents on diesel.
It's on a tax.
Yeah, you're going to do it tax-free.
So basically,
We're not going to get the federal roads fixed.
no, don't even, this,
What, 3 months?
For 3 months. The average person will save $11.27 in 3 months.
well, there you go.
It's worth the deal. That's something.
to buy some tube steak?
Barely.
So we're under loss control, no change. Subdivision administration. So other services, we added 10,000 to other services. That's where that engineering group that we're using, and I don't even know how much of this year's activity, 32,774 that we spent. Do we get reimbursed by anybody, or is that just money we're paying our engineers for? Do you-
That's what we're paying into.
Okay.
Yes, they are paying on all the new bids we have coming out. They are paying for that. We went up in lot fees to cover all that.
So subdivision, and our subdivision lot fees on the revenue side has gone up tremendously.
And that's who's paying that.
So I don't know if 30,000 is a good enough number for all those, for our our engineers are not, but
Well, like I said, we've got all this new stuff coming in this next week, and that's gonna start getting costly. And I've been having Keith at every meeting I put him in.
just want y'all
So he knows what's going
to,
on.
just again, remember, we used to not have an engineer at all, so let's just use them sparingly as much as we can, but that's.
Chris, what I got on, I need them more every day.
I know.
Let me just talk a little bit on what's going on with the subdivisions right now. We've had our lower end homes a total pullout of Medina County. I'm talking, they moved, they're gone. So all this new money that we have coming in on this last year, not gonna be here next year. If we get 10% of new money, we're gonna be, half of new money, we're gonna be lucky. I talked to Harry Howden for about an hour. He said his $600,000 and $700,000 houses have slowed up slightly. His lower end, the 250s on down, are almost went to zero as of June the 15th. D.R. Harton had pulled out, and that's where we were using these engineers the most, up in Red McComb subdivision. They completely moved out of Medina County.
Have they approved the subdivisions?
Not all of them.
But there's some of them are approved already.
They're under construction, they just moved out.
I understand.
They shut it off,
Okay.
like they have done in the past whenever this kind of stuff hits. It's going to hit us seriously. Our income on new is going to drop, I guarantee you, 50%. Our old, where we seen the price spike June the 15th like this June the 15th, I'm telling you, it's over with. We have max in Medina County for the next 10 years.
We'll see.
So this money that, hope nobody counts on the egg for next year. It's not going to be here.
Yeah.
You better save every penny you can and every safety account we got.
Okay. All right. Public Defender's Office, soon type. We have a separate line item for that, or how are we working the PDO? I saw the budget, which is exactly, so there's about a $3.5 million budget for the PDO, of which we're responsible for about, the 5 counties are responsible for 1/3 of the 3.5 million, and Medina County is responsible for about 30% of that 1/3.
Well, that was at $1,100,000.
So that would be 200 and 300,000. That's Medina County's part of the PDO, and of course, they're going to be collecting from the other counties. We will, just so y'all know, we'll be carrying about $300,000 to $400,000 a month, because it's all billed after the fact. So Medina County, we've got 20 million in the bank, so it won't affect us. Just know that we're going to be carrying that as part of being the home for the PDO. Thank you.
That's 30% or 33%.
30% of 33%
About 3.5.
of 3.5. That's good. Thank you. 345,000. That's about right. And we adjust it every year, and I just got the numbers in to adjust, and we're going to adjust it every year based upon usage. So the counties that use it, have the most cases, are going to pay the most. Kirk County's higher than us.
Are they going to still in play, or are they
They're
going to?
still,
Huh?
they're still,
I figured it out.
they're not talking to me, but they're still.
I figured it out. I had a long talk with Lutz the other day, too.
Lynch?
Huh? Last week?
Lynch was
No,
up.
Lutz. The judge.
Kelly. Oh, Lutz. You're talking about Kendall.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he's going to be in.
yeah. I had a long talk with him.
He's like back. He's got 191 days.
Yeah, he had a timer countdown on his phone.
He had a timer, he had,
191?
And the rest of today.
he got it on his cap. He's clicking down. He got it on, you get one for your cap, clicking down.
Does he really?
He can tell you by the minute when you talk to him. I said,
Anyway,
where do you get that information?
So the PDO is there. The SROs in Lytle, Medina Valley didn't change, and the juvenile board did not change. So what you got, and there's a couple things to talk about yet. The constables, and I'm just going to hand this out to y'all. I did a comparison of Kendall County, Kirk County, Atascosa County, and Wilson for the constables, so y'all know what other people are paying. We are probably a little bit down from Kendall, Kerr, and Atascosa because two of them pay what we pay or more and give them a vehicle. Atascosa just pays them more and doesn't
Where we at?
like us. We're at 50,704. When you add their salaries and their travel, that's what we pay is 5,704. Kendall's at 68,000 with the vehicle. Kendall overpays everybody. And don't print that.
You know,
Kerr is about where we're at, except they add a vehicle to it. So that vehicle, as you know, is worth a lot of money.
okay, my question is, with the sheriff getting new vehicles, is there any way we can move them? That's all they're asking for. They're not asking for nothing brand new, can we?
We tried that once already.
Huh?
We tried that
Well,
one
how come it didn't work?
because JP3 wanted the money. He didn't want to come.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't want a car, don't want a car. That's good.
So
About 2 years ago, they brought that to
No,
us.
just,
Well, and-
that's the offer.
the question is, how many,
How many tickets did he write last month?
you know, and keep, we probably just need to
I ain't seen him in
see if
3 or
there's
2
any
years.
vehicles besides those 2010s. We need to look at the sheriff's inventory of what he's getting rid of.
Probably not this year, probably next year.
Next year?
I mean, we're gonna be, well,
Well, there's another
we
question
haven't
here.
finished this, but I know they're gonna have some of the Explorers that need replacing and stuff. So.
Yeah. So on that, going back to now the SROs, or let's talk about SROs last. New employees, just to summarize, and this is what is in your handouts. JP1 is asked to take, he's got a 1.5 employee. And he's asked to take the other half employee to be full-time. And then the next one, and that half employee just accepted a job to go full-time with Darcy because one of her employees left. So that half-time employee ain't even there anymore. And so I'm not going to comment, I'm just going to say this is what he wants.
Mhm.
DA, as I said, needs a new civil attorney. He's also going to ask, he's got 5 assistants. And remember when we moved the county attorney over to the DA? Those 3 assistants that came from the county attorney's office were fairly well underpaid versus the 2 that sit in the DA's office. We did raise them up over the past year. We've given them raises. And he's just asking us to be able to equalize them all out. So all 5 of them make the same amount of money because they all 5 pretty much kind of do the same job. And that's about it.
Asking for some assistant VA and VA salary increases.
No, he's going to ask for that, and I think we're going to handle that. Him and I are going to visit, but I think if we just give a raise out, it'll fix that. The jail, in the stuff from the jail, we've already voted to increase the correctional jailers' salaries. They want to add 1 more maintenance person. They want to add 2 full-time dispatchers and take away the 2 part-time, so that's a net of 1 person. They want to add another animal control person, which with a vehicle means we need another vehicle. The sheriff's office is asking for 6 new deputies, which would be 6 new cars. And so the deputies come in at a cost of about $130,000.
Plus the car.
No, $130,000
That's with a vehicle.
is car and deputy.
Perfect.
So he's asking for 6 deputies, 1 patrol clerk. They're asking to realign. They want 3 new positions, 1 being a captain, 2 lieutenants. They're asking us to realign the investigators. They're asking for a full-time IT person. And so the sheriff and the jail by itself are asking for 14 new people. Yeah, and then pretrial is asking for another new person. And that is on your list, just so you can have a summary of what we just went over, of what everybody's asking for. And that's something for y'all.
So
to
the 6, are they going to be patrol deputies or?
Well, he's asking for 6 more patrol deputies.
And what was their amount again with the car?
130.
It's 130,000.
So, but the car's not
No,
going
we
to
heard it
be
from-
here,
No.
correct? So after the initial year, then that number drops.
Depending on how many next year they want and how many we get them.
Well, that 6 is on top of the regular cars that they're gonna ask you for.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah,
6
they-
on top of the 9 or whatever we get.
So last year we gave him 3 deputies. Did anybody remember?
Four. There's 4.
Well, no, let's don't count school resource, but, so if we gave him 2 new deputies last year, just say, we gave him 9 Tahoes, so 2 of those come with the 2 new deputies, and 7 are replacement for the ones he's replaced. We probably, and I need to get that inventory list that they always give me, that tells me how many old cars versus new cars, how much miles on them, and as y'all know, for the last 6 or 8 years, that's what we've been doing, is replacing by groups.
That's 200,000 miles.
Because we went out in 2010 and made a one-time purchase of a whole bunch of them, and so we just can't keep doing that. So
Can't keep doing it. No, it's eating our lunch.
I think we're kind of caught up, though. The 2010s ought to be about gone.
Right, but the others are miling out. I mean, we just
Sure.
cannot catch up. It's like, I mean, it's kind of, we're in that pattern, but this 9 or 10 now, because then you add people, and then we have wrecked vehicles, and used to where we could get 3 spares for a year sitting there when we start out the year. Now we need like 8, because either
Yeah,
one
y'all
car's
have
broke
like
down and you gotta
3
keep
wrecks
somebody in
off the
it, or we have one that's wrecked and we have to give them one of those. I mean, it is a,
Well,
It's a
and we don't
battle.
have, and we can't get them replaced fast enough.
most, but right, and that's on, yeah, not to mention we can't get them. Now we've got the new Tahoes, and we have a problem with the camera systems that go in on, that right now they're telling us October, November for the ones we have here ready to go on the street, because they can't get the electronics.
I ordered a tractor last October. We went to the seminar, and he had it on his computer. That June 30th, it's gonna be delivered to your yard. I got an email yesterday, September 15th. Is that gonna make any difference on my budget on that $169,000 machine?
It shouldn't. I mean.
If I'm not gonna, what if I don't get it this year?
You're gonna transfer it to next year.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna spend it.
Just not gonna spend it, it's not, the money's not gonna
It's
go
coming
nowhere.
out of your funds.
Exactly.
So your budget's gonna be unaffected this year, but it's gonna be transferred to next year.
Yeah, but like I said, it's September the 30th will be 1 year.
Yeah. You know, while we're talking about y'all's budgets, I mean, obviously, your money's what you got, and y'all are gonna need to,
Borrow some?
from where?
Somewhere. A one-time thing you take out general. One time.
Should we go take out a bond just to pay for diesel?
Might have to.
So, anyway, that was a joke, okay? SROs, y'all had a meeting two weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I guess, with the schools about SRO officers. And, you know, there's, I guess I should ask y'all what y'all thoughts are.
Okay, now, so going back to the conference, I talked to Judge Fowler and some of the other ones that went to the county judges' sessions only. And they were meeting with Ellison. And their bottom line came back that they're gonna do everything they can possibly do with the legislator, try to get them funding to pay for it, to keep it out of the county's houses.
But is it going to be funded by August?
No, it ain't gonna get funded by August.
Because I know there's federal monies that are supposed to be.
This is state money, it's
I
not
understand,
refunded.
but you know, when they just, it's in controversy right now. The Senate just passed that bill. That included in that bill is billions of dollars for school safety. We don't know what that bill is or where it's going to be used. So,
There was a $50 million one passed in Texas for that, and it's already passed.
where's
That's
the
on-
money?
That's on top of one. Make a phone call. You got his numbers in one right now.
No, but the school districts need to make that money.
That's yeah.
That's-
Then we would get on the phone and do
I mean,
something.
we had an email that came to me, Jessica, that we sent out to all the superintendents, right?
I've gotten one phone call.
And I sent it, and Dr. Rohrbach, when I followed up with him, they'd never heard about it. They sent it to me, but it should be sent to the superintendents, because they're the ones that have to apply for these monies.
That's another one that's going for it.
And I know we sent it to all superintendents across our county, and Rohrbach told me, and it was due last Friday. And they never even, I can't imagine anybody applying for it if they don't know about it.
Well, it's their department.
So here's what happens,
Yeah, we
is,
can't
you know, they're,
chase an average penny down for them.
they came and talked to us, and now they're probably wondering what we're gonna do, if we're gonna do anything.
Well, we did tell them that we suggested having a round table, and none of them have reached out to
Nobody called, nobody.
set it up.
Jerry, has anybody called you?
No,
I think they're waiting for us to set it up.
I think they want it to be our problem. Our solution.
Yeah. Well,
And the thing of it is, two of them that did talk, Eric and Shannon, they said, give us 1 year and we'll get straightened out on our end, possibly our own police department. Hey, if they want us to do this for 1 year, we got these 6 new people, Randy. Now, this is a Randy question, but he's going to have to do it. Give them 6 for the year, and we'll pay for that for 1 year. After that, you're on your own.
I'm not opposed to doing that.
But like I say, Randy is the
Are you coming
one.
back?
Yes, you're right back.
Randy's going, the other day, we asked him right here, can you give us 4 officers right now to go to school? He said, no.
Yeah.
Don't have them. So my question, my answer would be, at this point, without going through a round table, yes, if we can get these 6 people, if you can find them, we pay for it one time, and then after that, Medina Valley, and I have talked to Rollmark, I've talked to 3 or 4 people in the school board. Why haven't y'all ever got a police department? He said, it's talked about every session, we just never did it.
Well, actually, it's not a bad deal for them, and it's probably a cheaper deal for them to do what they're doing, because if you can have the sheriff provide Medina Valley with 4 officers.
And I don't have a problem if we find officers.
And if the sheriff can provide them with 4, and then the sheriff gets them for about 3 months out of the year, so they're at our expense, school doesn't have to pay for them year round.
Well,
So when
actually,
you have your
Berkeley,
own-
it's 10 months, because they were working 2 weeks before, 2 weeks
Yeah,
after.
well,
So, yeah, I can agree with that.
it's a cheaper deal for them to go through us.
Just how big do we want to get the Medina Valley Sheriff's Office? We're going to keep growing 5 more schools in Medina Valley through a school board meeting like that a couple of days ago. We got 5 more coming up. That's Berkeley, if there were 2 at every school, that's 10 more officers right there.
Yeah.
You got Northside with 37 schools, they have 10 officers for the whole Northside School District.
No, I understand.
How big do we want to get the sheriff's department? We can, right now, if we just give them what they're asking for, that's bigger than our whole police force. Bigger than our whole police force. And like I say, we had 2 of them did say, you give us 1 year to let her get our finances in order and get our police department set up. Eric said that and Shannon said that. Let's fund this thing for them for 1 year. Huh?
You said bigger than our police force.
Well, what our deputies run?
Our deputies, we're taking our deputies over there.
We got 4 deputies run patrol for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Each shift.
It'd take our whole staff, we couldn't take care of the schools.
Gotcha.
Well, it would take, if we funded 1 for each school, that's 6?
6.
For each school district.
1 for each school district. 1 for each school
It's
district,
$1 million,
$1 year.
$1 million a year, $1 million.
Is, well, at 130,000, it's.
$1 million.
It's,
Real close,
800,000.
800,000.
Yeah.
Do that 1 year, and then after that, they're on their own. I'm good with that.
But they're not all gonna do police departments next year.
Huh?
They're not all gonna be ready to do that
What
next
they'll
year.
do is, we would hope next year they'll pick up the cost as an SRO, and they'll pay for that, or else that deputy goes away.
That's what I was thinking.
That
You hire
government-
somebody with a 1-year contract with the hopes that the schools come up with the funds to
Yeah.
hire them from here on
And
out.
Or get their
pay
own
us.
security.
Or pay us.
Yes.
That's gonna be a tough thing to hire somebody for, a deputy for a year that's gonna be willing to, I mean, if they're worth their salt that says, oh, I'll give it a shot for a year to hopefully have a job. As hard as it is for us to hire deputies.
The way Randy's going right now, like I say, these 6 that he's asking for, let's go ahead and do that. Send them over there for a year. Is this gonna put him that far behind the deputies? Like I say, this is a Randy question. I don't want to get into his conversation. At the end of that, we got our deputies back. Randy has his full force he had asked for this year.
So you're not saying the deputies?
They won't be laid off.
They're coming back?
Yeah,
Like I said, they'll be coming back for the work for Randy.
Now,
So instead of hiring 13, like the school wants 6 and he wants 7, we'll only do 6. We'll do it for 1 year. We'll stretch our neck out that far for 1 year. But like I say, that's a Randy question.
I can tell you that, the 780,000 that we would spend on those 6 is just gonna come out of our reserves,
That's it.
all right?
1 year, 1 time,
And that's, we can afford to do that.
1 time.
The other side of it, I haven't told you all the bad news, is if we hired every one of those employees that everybody's asked for, if we did all that, and you'll have with you the raises, but, you know, a 5% raise is about $500,000.
What is our total payroll?
12 million?
12 million?
Wait, it's about 12 million out of the 12 fund. It's on that piece of paper somewhere. Where's the raises at? That paid with the raises. It's in there.
she hiding
I'm
it.
gonna let y'all find it, tell me what page it is.
Well, she's got it.
Okay, so
Okay,
the budget,
just give us a rough
just so
draft.
you know, the budget you looked at right there has about $900,000 left. If you give raises out, $500,000. If you hired every one of these, it's another 1.6 million. So we're now went from a $900,000 plus to a minus 1.1 million.
Like 1-1?
1.1 because we have 900 plus.
Okay, where would that get us on our tax rate?
Well, I don't know. Do not know that, and so we obviously can't finalize anything until we know what that's gonna be.
Estimate. There's a real good place way you can estimate it.
That would be a Melissa thing.
Yeah.
Here it is. Our total payroll that has all the funds is 15.8 million.
15.8.
It's 11.5 is what's out of the general fund, and then it has each of your, y'all should have this page here somewhere.
I'll have it.
Y'all have it?
Okay, 15 million and then a 5% raise would be how much? 800,000?
A 5% raise is 520,000 on the general fund. So what we're talking about right now is the general fund.
Exactly.
So I'm just gonna tell you that we're gonna be way upside down if we gave everybody what they want. And then we go out and hire. So remember the SRO officers, if we gave them
That's $1 million, yeah, 800,000.
800,
I think that,
I'm listening.
I think that the schools that are requesting this need to show us some of the financial responsibility as well. This money that we're talking about that the state has, that no one has applied for, I think they need to apply for it. And, you know, we can be sympathetic, I guess, to their needs, but we also need to be realistic.
Yeah.
And bring them on board as far as being responsible for paying for this.
What I think would be a good idea is Jessica,
Yes, sir.
let's organize our own roundtable. If nobody's reaching out, let's bring them all here in a room. And
Good God.
you don't have to come. I'll deal with it.
You're gonna have people going down rabbit trails.
No, I'll control that. I just want to know what they're doing. What are they doing in their school board meetings to talk
Chris,
about?
I'm in contact with Eric, I'm in contact with Medina Valley, and I asked the same question last week. Neither one are doing nothing.
Well, I think
Are y'all trying to tighten these schools up? Are y'all getting security? We're doing nothing until next year.
Commissioner Beck is correct. They need to be doing something.
You know, and this money that's available is for hardening only. They can't go out and buy computers. They can buy security, they can buy fences, they can buy locks, they can buy bulletproof glass. That's exactly what this money is for. And I had a chain of emails before this thing came to Commissioner's Court when it did, through several of the, about 3 or 4 of the school district people. Y'all are gonna have to do something. Just a bunch of money ain't gonna save this.
We could be part of the solution, we shouldn't be the solution.
Exactly. My thing is, our deputies are running ragged right now.
Yep,
So they need the help just as bad as the schools need the help,
this is it.
you know.
I was coming home the other day,
Come on, come on.
Where are we coming home from?
there was one deputy passed me on 35 North, running probably, I was running 80, and he passed me, he was in a big hurry, and I was. And as it got closer to the Medina County line, there's 4 or 5 deputies sitting there on the side of the road waiting like vultures. Evidently, there's a chase coming. And they want to get involved in that chase, and they want to be involved, and they want to chase these bad guys, which are probably illegals, and risk tearing up vehicles and things of that nature. Well, in my opinion, they ought to be supported. You know, they're there in case they need something. You know, they bail out, but they know the area.
I agree 100%.
They don't need to be the chase vehicle, but that's, you know, that they live for the excitement and the blood and guts. But when it comes to the follow-up and all of that stuff, it's not there. But anyway, that kind of struck me as funny. All of a sudden, we got 4 deputies out there on 35, you know, just waiting.
Chase the pig.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And I brought that up and I didn't go nowhere.
Okay.
191 cents.
What about the cops?
And what?
191.
That submitted, the cops grant, because it got submitted, right? It
Yeah.
did get submitted, I'm just wondering.
How much was that for?
That's where, was it 5%?
I thought it was for
140?
5, but I don't remember.
For 5 deputies?
So.
And we put it in.
Trying to do that.
So that's, we can't make a decision on any of this until we get closer to August, probably, when we find out about those grants and see what the school district's doing. But
we can do the SRO program with the schools. I think the schools in Devine have an agreement with the city. The city of Devine, I've seen their vehicles up there at schools all the time. I think the city of Natalia, I know the city of Natalia has an agreement with Natalia ISD.
Okay.
And I think there's 2 up there. I don't know how many we've got in Medina Valley.
6.
6?
4.
6.
4
We
or
got
6. 6.
8 schools. We got 6 at 8 schools.
We got 6 SROs, but we got an agreement with them.
Yep.
Okay.
No, we have an agreement with Lidle too.
Okay, yeah, well, I had.
And that's why Bob Bass said, if we're gonna do that,
And I think the folks.
structure how we deal with the other schools already.
Yep.
To keep it.
I think the folks at the Hennis are the only ones that don't. And
I think you're right.
so, you want to sit around. Not that many campuses that we need to.
I will, I'll reach out to them. We'll reach out to them.
I'll be more than happy to sit in.
We'll make it into a workshop.
There you go.
Okay?
Chris, I'll tell you what, there's something that Bob Bass did talk about, and it was all agreements with all of our cities, which I know we have, the road department has got agreements with the cities already on interlocal agreements. He recommended getting away from the interlocal agreement, because that is pretty well legally binding,
Right?
and go to an MOU. It leaves it a whole lot more loose, and especially if you're transferring money. See, if we working for these cities and stuff, no, we don't pay no money out of our pocket. They pay for everything. There's no money changes hands. And he said on an agreement like that, and he said they are tightening down across the state, investigating some of these people that are working without a contract, and it's getting nasty. It's getting nasty. But he said, get an MOU instead of an interlocal agreement.
Well, that would just be a rewording of it.
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, if you want that, you can.
As we are sitting here today, we actually, these interlocals have worked fine for us.
We have never been contested.
For
Yeah, we have never been contested by the state.
10, 15
Well, there's
years.
probably been no criminal intent in any of it.
Well, let's hope not.
And so that's.
But he said the MOU, it's a whole lot looser. And he said, all you gotta do is change the heading of it.
Yeah, well, you gotta change a little bit inside
Yeah.
there, because
But it's the same local government
it
code
seems
and
to be,
everything
it seems to be a less contractual,
else. Exactly.
because an MOU is a predecessor to
Okay.
a contract, okay?
But you don't want that, you want to keep this, you can have
Sure.
it.
I will.
The next thing I got that we learned,
How do I?
Where you going?
Okay.
She's
the
ready
next,
for
the
hot
next thing
chocolate.
I wanna learn, but it has nothing to do with budget, but we need to
Buy
get it
options.
done. Last year, we thought we got away from the road inventory, well, we didn't. It's still gotta be turned in. It's gotta be, the county is supposed to be getting it.
They said specifically doesn't